I want to speak a little bit about relationships, about love, not the idealized kind of romantic comedies or pop songs, but the sort that must survive relentless exposure, divided loyalties, public betrayal, political calculation, the wagging finger that seems to think they know what's going on. Sandy Toksvig is very wise about these things. The kind that happens when one partner is not just married to the other, but married also to power. And the kind of love that can barely breathe beneath the glare of Downing Street lanterns and the headlines of the Daily Mail. This is so. This is really about surviving or not surviving a relationship in public life. And Sarah Vine's new memoir, which I'm really looking forward to reading, I've hoovered up the stuff which has been reported in the press. How Not to Be a Political Wife is no misty-eyed recollection. It seems to be a book written by a woman who described having no more, no more, and then there's a rude word left to give. But if you've read the serializations, which I have, it seems an understatement. Her story, told with mordant wit and painful clarity, is not just about Michael Gove, her ex-husband. It's about being a wife to a man who belonged to two marriages, one to her and the other to the Conservative Party. And she recounts glamorous evenings at Chequers, whiskey-soaked Vatican visits, holidays with the Camerons, and moments of genuine joy. But she also tells of betrayal, of friendships turned to frost, of being mistaken for The Help by Jeremy Clarkson. It's a modern political tragedy with shades of The Crown and Succession, but the wounds are real. And public life, like life in the theatre or the cinema, demands performance, and a political marriage becomes a duet in which one voice often dominates. And Vine writes candidly about her early self-effacement, the organiser, the fixer, the woman who picked up the pieces while her husband debated the fate of Europe on the airwaves. She was the confidant, the cook, the courier, and eventually, she wonders, the staff. And her friendship with Samantha Cameron, once intimate, giggly, wine-fueled, was destroyed by Brexit. A single lift confrontation with David Cameron, you need to get your husband under control, and a birthday party blow-up ended years of shared holidays and late-night laughter. This wasn't House of Cards. It was worse. It was personal, I think. And so comes the personal cost. And Vine describes alopecia, self-loathing, depression, debt, the savage emotional inheritance of growing up in a household of narcissism and instability. Her public identity, tabloid columnist, political +1, Wednesday witch, which was armour for a woman who still hadn't quite forgiven herself of not being slim, pretty and charming, she says. She portrays Gove as distant, cerebral, disembodied from the domestic sphere, a man who preferred his mind palace to unpacking moving boxes. It's not cruel, it's observant and devastating, and it's not just Gove. Vine lays bare a larger truth. The culture of politics breeds relationships of convenience, political friendships not grounded in loyalty. It's transactional. The moment you fall out of favour, you fall entirely. And Vine's memoir is a warning, not just to would-be political spouses, but to anyone seduced by proximity to power. If you want to survive a relationship in public life, you have to accept that your role will be both exaggerated and erased. You will be watched, judged, and if necessary, sacrificed. And survival depends on two things: self-possession and boundaries. You cannot outsource your identity to the person who's in the limelight. You cannot allow your friends to be chosen by their political usefulness, because, as Vine has learnt, perhaps too late, friendships built on patronage will collapse in the first strong wind of real ideology. So, what is left when the confetti of power has blown away? A woman in a West End London flat with 2 dogs, a collection of scars and a sharp pen. But also perhaps a sense of liberation, because Vine's voice, whatever you make of her politics, is finally her own. And for those still orbiting the Westminster court, her story stands as both a lament and a liberation, a reminder that surviving public life may mean walking away from it entirely. But surviving is survival, isn't it? And she is. When all is said and done, she is a survivor. I think when her book comes out on the 19th, we should run and get a copy, because it's going to be a jolly good read.